Alright, so today we're going to show you how to basically put together all the pieces for starting your own website. So we're going to take 4 steps. The first one is buying a domain name. The second one is hosting it. The third one is installing WordPress. And the fourth one is installing your theme. So we're going to go ahead and just dive in right here. I've got Carol with me, and we're going to make a personal website for her. So she has decided that she would like to get carolmettenbrink.com. Make sure I spell your name right. All right, good. So then we just search to make sure it's still available. We did this earlier and it looked good. Yep. So you're going to just add this, but then when you go to a site like GoDaddy, they have a bunch of things you can they want to upsell you on, and I'm just looking really quickly, but I don't think any of these things are needed, so we're just going to add that. And then this is, yeah, so they'll keep giving you different options, but we're just going to go with the domain only. Yeah, unless you want to prevent personal information from, like, what that means is basically there's a Whois directory where sometimes people can look up who owns a certain domain or whatever, and so this just hides it from that public view. But in general, that's all websites have this out there. Yeah, that's kind of the goal. We want people to find you by your name and all that. If they've come to carolmettenbrink.com, they probably can guess Carol owns that site, I hope. All right, so yeah, so we're just going to go through this, and they are good to go, and then we're just going to go to checkout. So we're on this option, we do want to get hosting. So this is what's going to be convenient. If you want to buy your domain and get hosting from the same site, you want to go with one of the options they give you here. If you want to do it on buy your domain from one site but host it on another, it's a little bit more of a process, but it's still doable. So in this case, we want to kind of keep it all together just to make it simple. Um, so which one? We don't need the builder. We just want hosting. And so they have these different kind of hosting packages. For this kind of a site, it really doesn't need anything flashy or special. This will be plenty, the cheapest one. So that's $4 a month, and that'll keep your site up. And that's the only thing that you really have to pay a monthly fee for your website. So everything else is a one-time fee, and then the rest is done after that. And then again, just checking any of these things. No, none of those are needed. And so we'll continue. There we go. Alright, so they're in our cart. So I guess we just need to... Alright, there's the cart, finally. Alright, so what they do is they sell it based on how many years you want to register it for. So 2 years is probably a good way to start. Yeah, sometimes it's cheaper for more, but it's not that much of a difference for this kind of domain. And then the hosting, so yeah, so that's $4 a month or whatever, so it'll be like 47 a year, but I don't know if they want you to pay it all up front or not. Oh, you can do 1 month if you want, and then you just pay it every month. But it can, oh, it looks like it's more if they do it that way. Okay. And that should be good. So then we just go to checkout. Alright, so we've just finished filling out all the customer information and we bought the domain name. So now the next step is to set up your hosting. So we're just going to follow their prompts and see what happens after that. So what they're doing is they're just going to set up the hosting and they're going to email us when it's ready. And that shouldn't take too long, so we'll continue from that spot in just a second. Alright, so we just opened the email and there's a link to get your web hosting going. So we're just going to go ahead and launch it. and we're going to select the one we just bought. If you bought more than one, you might select one for whatever one you're going to set up. Yes, and this is actually one of the next steps you're going to do is install WordPress, so you definitely want to do that. And we want the domain to be that, carolmittenbrink.com. Directory, just leave that the same. She doesn't have a username for WordPress yet, so you'll want to do that when you set it up. And I'm wondering, yeah, so I don't know if this lets, yeah, okay, this will let her make her own username. So we'll just fill this out and go to the next step in a second here. Alright, so we just set up a WordPress user, and it's going to install it, so we're just going to let it do that for a minute here. While that's installing, you can look at your different options if you want to do anything more technical, but for the most part, all you really need to install on the back end is WordPress, and it's good to go. So we'll come back as soon as it's done installing. I'll show you what you do next. Alright, so it's done. Whoops. Alright, so it's done installing WordPress, and we are now ready to go live. So we'll see how this kind of looks. Updating, just take a few minutes, and see what a preview of her site looks like. So this is going to be before we put the theme on it. So we're going to give it a whole different kind of look that will be really amazing and awesome. And it's really easy to update and how it looks too. So we'll see what it looks like before we even do that. But other than this, you're pretty much set, and we're just going to install the theme right after this. So just waiting for it to preview, and I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll go on into installing the theme. Alright, so it's finished updating Carol's site. Now we're going to show you what it would look like if you just go to her website now. And I'll show you why we like themes so much. carolmittenbrink.com. So if you go here, this is what they'll give you just right out of the box. And you can edit this and play around with it and change things. But there's a way that's really easy to make it look way nice. And those are what we call themes. So Carol has earlier picked out a theme that she liked, and I'm going to pull it up over here, and it's called Aveda. And what you do is you just go to whatever theme you like. We've shown you a gallery of some different themes earlier in the guide, and you can just Google some, or you can pick from the ones that are there. There's literally thousands of these different themes, so you can pick whatever one you think best represents you and your site, and go from there. So with this one, once you've decided on one you like, you just go ahead and you can buy it, and it's really easy once you've bought it to be able to install it onto your site once it's all up. So again, we're going to create another, you have to create an account for a lot of these different things, so we'll just go through that process and we'll continue right after that. So stay by for 1 second. Okay, so Carol's just finished making her user on ThemeForest. And whether you use Elegant Themes or ThemeForest or any of the other like DIY themes, those sites out there that have a bunch of these different themes, they'll usually have the same kind of process where you need to set up a username, and then once you have an account or whatever, it doesn't cost anything for the account. You just buy your theme from them. So we'll just go through that. We'll use your PayPal account. Okay, so once you click on the purchase, you can choose to buy now with PayPal, and we just did that, and this is what you'll see right after you're done buying it. So the first thing you just want to do is just download this theme. And for now, we just need the WordPress file, so we're just going to go with that. And it's going to be a zip file, so right up here, but we're just going to put it in a place where it's easy for us to find it. I guess it's going to go to my downloads for now, but eventually you can just move it where you want it. And once you've downloaded the theme, you're going to go to your WordPress site on the site you just made. So carolmettenbrink.com. So you go to your website, but you're going to just add this to the end of it, wp-admin. And this is how you do any of your like back-end editing on your website. This is where you can put all of your posts. This is where you can put what the pages look like. You can write all that content. You can put new images in there. It's basically what you're going to be using for the majority of your website creation. So once you go there, you just type that in, and you'll put in the WordPress username and password that you set up when you bought your domain and hosting. So I'm just going to have Carol do that, and we'll show you what happens right after that. Alright, so now this is the back end of your website. And you can go through this. WordPress has like their own little tutorial to show you how to use it. But for now, we're just going to install the theme. So the way you do that is you hover over Appearance and you go to Themes. And we are going to install themes. So you just click on that. And then we want to upload it because we just downloaded the file. And see how it's looking for that .zip. So we're just going to point it to where it downloaded that. So that went to my, I think this is, I'm not sure what they called it though, so bear with me while I try to find exactly what it was. Theme Forest, there it is. So once you find the zip, you just select it and you click Install Now. And then it's going to put the theme together. And it'll just take a second while it does that. Alright, and so once it's done installing, you're just going to want to click the button for Activate. I just did it accidentally, so you won't see it here. But it's just right down in this area when on that previous page. And so there you'll see the theme that we just did. If I go now to carolmettenbrink.com, you'll see that it's got a whole new layout to it than what was there before. So now we just got to start putting in some of the parts to it. So when it comes to a theme, every theme's different. So what you'll want to do when you download your theme is get their documentation, and it'll show you some of the basic things to get started on to set it all up. And then you'll also want to, from inside your theme, you can do a lot of customization by clicking on things here. This is basic stuff that you'll just go through and you'll change as you go through it, and it'll just fill it out more. Because with Carol's website, hers can eventually look like the theme we had here. So if we go to the preview, we can fill in as much as we want to give it a banner and headlines and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of work still to do, but this is more the fun part. And that's all you really need to do to set up your website.